Hello and welcome to our channel, Shakespeare's Plays and Summaries, where we go over the works of William Shakespeare. Be sure to subscribe and check out our library of videos. The story we are diving into today, Shakespeare's masterpiece Hamlet, doesn't start with a bang. Oh no. It starts with a funeral that's immediately followed by a wedding. I mean, we're talking literally 1 month. The King of Denmark dies, and before they can even sweep up after the funeral, the king's own brother, Claudius, marries the now-widowed Queen Gertrude. Yeah, you heard me right. It's a move that's so bold, so fast, and frankly, so creepy, that it sets the perfect stage for one of the greatest tragedies of all time. So welcome to Elsinore Castle, where something is definitely rotten. So, let's get into it. And at the center of all this is our main guy, Prince Hamlet. And as you can probably guess, he is not okay. He's mourning his father, the late king, who is basically his hero. Now, just imagine this. He has to stand by and watch his uncle, a man he absolutely cannot stand, take over his father's throne, and, even worse, his mother's bed. Hamlet is just drowning in grief, and he's totally disgusted by all the fake happiness at the court. To him, Claudius is this smiling, two-faced villain. But he has no proof. And this right here is where it all begins. He's stuck, caught between sorrow and suspicion. Meanwhile, you've got Claudius, who, to be fair, is acting like a pretty competent king. He's already dealing with political threats from Norway, handling court business, like letting Laertes, the son of his top advisor, go back to France. He's not wasting any time locking down his power. And this is where we see a really key family dynamic come into play. Before Laertes heads off to France, he gives his sister, Ophelia, a big warning about Hamlet. He's basically like, hey, don't get involved. He's a prince. He can't marry who he wants. And then their dad, Polonius, comes in and doubles down, flat out forbidding her from ever seeing Hamlet again. And Ophelia, well, she's trapped. She has to obey. And just think about what that means. In an instant, Hamlet is completely cut off from the only person he seems to care about. You can just feel the walls starting to close in on him. And right at this moment when Hamlet is totally alone, the story takes a hard turn into the supernatural because a ghost has appeared. For 2 nights straight, the guards on the castle walls have seen a figure that looks exactly like the dead King Hamlet in full battle armor. So on the 3rd night, they bring in Hamlet's best friend, Horatio, who's a total skeptic, by the way. He's the I'll believe it when I see it type. And, well, he sees it. The ghost shows up. Horatio's skepticism just melts away. He is immediately convinced that this pretentious figure is a terrible omen for all of Denmark. They all agree on one thing. This ghost might be silent with them, but it will definitely speak to its son, Prince Hamlet. So when Horatio tells Hamlet this impossible news, something just clicks for the prince. He doesn't hesitate for a second. This is it. This is the sign he's been waiting for. And now we get to the moment of truth. Hamlet goes to meet the ghost alone on the castle ramparts. You can just imagine it. Dark, freezing cold, and absolutely terrifying. The ghost finally speaks, and what it says completely shatters Hamlet's world. See, the official story that everyone's been told is that the old king died from a snake bite while he was sleeping in his orchard. The ghost is here to set the record straight. The serpent that killed him? Oh, that serpent is now wearing his crown. The ghost lays it all out. Claudius, his own brother, snuck up on him while he was napping and poured a vial of deadly poison right into his ear. He murdered him. And not just that. It was the ultimate betrayal. A brother killing a brother to steal his throne and his queen. So the ghost gives Hamlet his mission. But man, it's got some complicated rules. Rule number 1, avenge my murder. Got it. But rule number 2 is, do not harm your mother. Leave Gertrude to her own conscience, and let heaven be her judge. So Hamlet has to get revenge, but with these impossible strings attached. Hamlet is just reeling. The first thing he does is grab his sword and make Horatio and the guards swear an oath. They have to swear they will never, ever tell anyone what they just saw. But think about it. How is a prince supposed to kill a king? The guy is surrounded by guards 24/7. Hamlet needs time, and he needs a plan. So he comes up with this brilliant and incredibly risky strategy. He's going to put on an Antic disposition. In other words, he's going to fake being completely insane. That'll be his cover, to watch, to listen, and to plot his revenge. And that's how Act 1 closes. Hamlet is all alone, with this enormous weight on his shoulders. He's got a murderer on the throne, a mother he doesn't know if he can trust, and a mission from beyond the grave. He looks out into the darkness and says it all. The time is out of joint. Oh, curse spite, that ever I was born to set it right. And with that, the game begins. A deadly, dangerous game of theater with the most brilliant, tortured mind in all of literature pulling the strings. So Hamlet makes this incredible decision to pretend he's gone mad. And let me tell you, this sets off an absolute chain reaction of chaos, conspiracy, and suspicion throughout the entire Danish court. His commitment to this act is total. I mean, think about it. This is Hamlet's huge dilemma. He has this terrible knowledge from his father's ghost, but that's it. He's the only witness. So what's his solution? He's going to put on this mask of madness. And the results? Well, they're both tragically funny and just utterly devastating. And chaos is exactly what he gets. You see, Hamlet's performance of madness isn't just an act. For him, it's a weapon, one designed to create confusion and, just maybe, expose all the hidden anxieties festering in the court. And the very first report we get of this so-called madness comes from a terrified Ophelia. He just appears before her in her private chambers, looking like an absolute mess, totally disheveled and unkempt. He doesn't say a single word. He just stares at her with this intense, completely unnerving gaze. And then he lets out this sigh so deep, so profound, it's as if his very heart is broken. This one, single, silent encounter is all the evidence the court has to go on. Naturally, her father, Polonius, the court's meddling advisor, he draws the simplest conclusion possible. He runs straight to the king and queen and tells them Hamlet's madness is a clear case of rejected love. He's totally convinced that Ophelia's refusal to see him has driven the prince insane. But oh, the truth is so much more complex. Because King Claudius, well, he is not convinced. Not for a second. He senses a real danger lurking just behind Hamlet's crazy talk. He is way too cunning to accept such a simple explanation. So he makes his own move. He summons two of Hamlet's childhood friends, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Now their official mission is to cheer Hamlet up. But their real mission? Yeah, that's to figure out what's truly going on with him and report straight back. Let's be honest, they're basically Claudius' personal spies. But here's the thing about Hamlet. His mind is just way too sharp for a simple trick like this. He sees right through their little act, greeting his old friends with this chilling cynicism that just completely exposes them as the king's informants. And during this whole confrontation, he delivers this powerful monologue about the crushing burden of just being alive, and he concludes with a line that reveals his entire worldview. For there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. You see, for Hamlet, reality itself has become this kind of prison, a prison built entirely by his own tormented thoughts. And then, almost by a twist of fate, a traveling group of actors arrives at Elsinore. And this gives Hamlet the perfect opportunity. Suddenly, his vague desire for revenge crystallizes into a brilliant and very theatrical plan. You see, Hamlet knows he needs more than a ghost's word. He needs proof. Irrefutable proof. So he comes up with this brilliant and honestly pretty brutal scheme. He'll have the actors perform a play, but with a new scene that he's written himself, a scene that reenacts the murder of his father exactly as the ghost described it. He calls it the mousetrap, and it's designed to do one thing, to catch the conscience of the king. But before the play, Claudius and Polonius set their own little trap, using Ophelia as bait. And this confrontation leads to maybe the most famous soliloquy in all of literature. To be or not to be, that is the question. And this isn't just about suicide. It's a huge philosophical struggle. Is it nobler to just passively endure all the suffering life throws at you, or to stand up and fight back, even if that means facing the great unknown of death? And in the conversation that follows, Hamlet is absolutely cruel and aggressive towards Ophelia, famously telling her to get thee to a nunnery. And all the while, Claudius is hiding, secretly watching the whole thing unfold. Claudius watches this exchange, and it confirms his worst suspicions. This is not the madness of love. No, he sees a purposeful, dangerous melancholy. He now recognizes Hamlet as a direct threat, and he immediately gives the order. Hamlet must be sent to England. The clock is officially ticking. So, it's the night of the play, and the tension in the Great Hall is absolutely electric. This is it. This is Hamlet's moment of truth. And this is the only question that matters. As the actors perform that crucial scene, the one that mirrors the poisoning of a king, every single eye in the court, especially Hamlet's, is fixed squarely on Claudius. And he breaks. Claudius absolutely cannot handle it. He leaps up from his seat, yells, "Give me some light," away, and storms right out of the hall. And there it is. The trap has snapped shut. The king's reaction is nothing short of an open confession. Hamlet now has his proof. With the king's guilt confirmed, Hamlet is in an absolute frenzy. He finds Claudius alone, trying to pray. I mean, this is the perfect opportunity for revenge. But he hesitates. He realizes that if he kills Claudius while he's praying, his soul might go to heaven. In a truly terrifying decision, Hamlet decides he has to kill the king while he is sinning, just to ensure his eternal damnation. Immediately after this, Hamlet goes to his mother's chamber for a very heated confrontation. During their argument, Gertrude gets scared and cries for help. And then, another voice cries out from behind a tapestry, where someone is hiding. Hamlet, thinking he's caught the king eavesdropping, instantly whips out his sword and thrusts it straight through the fabric, killing Polonius on the spot. This is the point of no return. Hamlet has finally acted, but he's killed the wrong man. He has just accidentally murdered the innocent father of the woman he loves. And this is the catastrophe. Claudius is now certain of Hamlet's danger, and he takes control. The prince will be sent to England and to his death. It leaves us with a critical question, doesn't it? In his quest for a perfect, philosophically sound justice, has Hamlet simply unleashed perfect chaos instead? So, in Shakespeare's Hamlet, that moment when he accidentally kills Polonius, that's it. That's the point of no return. All that psychological tension that's been building up for so long, it just snaps, and the entire play just dives headfirst into this lethal, tragic free-for-all. Yeah, this is where it all goes wrong. What started as a story of grief and revenge is about to become a straight-up bloodbath. From here on out, the body count is just going to climb, and fast. The dominoes are officially falling. So King Claudius is panicking, right? There's been a murder in his own castle. He needs Hamlet gone, and he needs him gone now. So he exiles into England, sending along his old friends, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, to escort him. On the surface, it looks like a way for everyone to cool off. But the reality, well, it's way more sinister. This is no diplomatic mission. It's a death sentence. Claudius has sent a secret letter ahead to the King of England, and the instructions are crystal clear. Execute Hamlet the moment he steps on shore. And the craziest part? Hamlet has absolutely no idea he's sailing straight toward his own execution. While Hamlet sails away, Denmark is completely unraveling. Polonius gets buried in a hurry, without any of the proper honors, which is a huge scandal. But the real tragedy here is his daughter, Ophelia. The loss of her father just pushes her over the edge. She spirals into this heartbreaking madness, wandering the court, singing these sad, broken songs and talking in riddles. She's the first true casualty of Hamlet's war with Claudius. And if things weren't bad enough, Polonius' son, Laertes, comes storming back from France. He is a hurricane of pure rage. He wants answers about his father's shabby funeral and his sister's madness. And he doesn't just ask questions. He shows up with a mob at his back, ready to tear the castle down and overthrow the monarchy. Just as Claudius manages to calm Laertes down, convincing him that Hamlet is their common enemy, fate decides to throw a massive wild card into the mix. A messenger arrives with news that is just unbelievable. Get this, Hamlet's ship was attacked by pirates. During the fight, he was the only one they captured. But in a totally wild turn of events, the pirates made a deal with him. They've returned him to Denmark in exchange for a favor. So yeah, Hamlet is alive. He's back on Danish soil, while Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are still sailing to England all alone. Okay, hold on. If Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are still on their way to England, what about that secret letter, the one ordering Hamlet's execution? Did he just get lucky and escape one trap only to let his would-be assassin sail on? Not a chance. See, at sea, Hamlet had a moment of pure, decisive genius. He snuck into their cabin, stole Claudius' sealed letter, and discovered the order for his own death. So what did he do? He wrote a new letter, perfectly forged the king's seal, and just swapped his own name for theirs. It's that cold and that brutal. His two former friends are now sailing to their own execution, victims of Hamlet's ruthless countermove. With Hamlet suddenly back, Claudius and Laertes have to scrap their plans and come up with something new, something foolproof. They devise a plot that's designed to look like an accident, but will absolutely guarantee Hamlet's death. Let's break down this nasty little conspiracy. Step 1. They'll stage a friendly fencing match between Hamlet and Laertes. Step 2. The dark twist. Laertes' sword won't be blunted for practice. It's going to be a sharpened rapier, its tip coated in a lethal poison. And Step 3. The backup plan. If Laertes can't land a hit, Claudius will offer Hamlet a celebratory cup of wine that he has also spiked. There is just no way for Hamlet to survive this. Before this final confrontation can even begin, the court gets rocked by yet another tragedy. The queen arrives with the news. Ophelia is dead. She apparently fell into a stream while making flower garlands, and her heavy clothes dragged her under. The weight of all this grief is just becoming unbearable. Okay, so the very next scene is one of the most famous in all of literature. We're in a graveyard where Hamlet and his friend Horatio stumble across two gravediggers who are casually joking about death while they work. It's a moment of really dark humor right before the final storm. One of the gravediggers unearths a skull, and Hamlet recognizes it. It's Yorick's, the court jester from his childhood. And holding the remains of a man who once made him laugh, he delivers this iconic speech, thinking about how death is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter if you're a king or a clown, we all end up as dust. It's this profound final moment of philosophical calm just before the chaos. Then the funeral procession arrives. It's for Ophelia. Laertes, just absolutely destroyed by grief, leaps into his sister's grave to hold her one last time. Hamlet, seeing this and realizing who has died, bursts forward, declares that he loved Ophelia more than any brother could, and then jumps into the grave himself, physically fighting Laertes. It's just a raw, terrible display of overwhelming grief and rage. And now we are here, the climax. The entire court gathers for the fencing match, and the tension is just suffocating. The final act of this tragedy is about to play out, but only a few people in that room know just how final it's really going to be. The duel begins, and Hamlet is sharp. He scores the first hit. To celebrate, his mother, Queen Gertrude, raises that poisoned cup of wine to toast him. Claudius desperately whispers, "Gertrude, do not drink," but it's too late. She drinks the poison that was intended for her son. The match continues, but now there's a terrifying urgency. Laertes finally sees an opening and wounds Hamlet, nicking him with the poisoned rapier. But in the scuffle that follows, the swords are somehow swapped. Hamlet, now unknowingly holding the poisoned blade, presses his attack and wounds Laertes. And, just like that, both men are doomed. It all happens in moments. Laertes falls. Knowing he's dying, he confesses the entire conspiracy, crying out that the king is to blame. At the same time, the queen cries out that the drink was poisoned, and she collapses, dead. Hearing the confession and seeing his mother die, Hamlet finally snaps. He knows he only has minutes to live. He turns on Claudius, forces the rest of the poisoned wine down the king's throat, and then stabs him with a poisoned rapier, making sure his uncle and father's murderer dies a traitor's death. The stage is now just littered with bodies. The queen, the king, Laertes, and Prince Hamlet. For royals, all dead. As his own life fades, Hamlet's final request is to his friend Horatio. Don't follow me in death, but live to tell this tragic story and clear my name. At that exact moment, cannons fire, announcing the arrival of Fortinbras, the Prince of Norway. He walks into the throne room to find the entire Danish royal family dead. With his dying breath, Hamlet declares Fortinbras his successor, passing the broken kingdom into his hands. Horatio is left alone amid the carnage, holding his friend and delivering this beautiful farewell. Fortinbras, seeing the noble destruction, immediately orders a soldier's funeral for Hamlet. The chaos is finally purged and a new order is established. In the end, Hamlet gets his revenge, but the cost is his own life, his mother's life, and the complete destruction of his kingdom. It leaves us with a haunting final question. In a world where justice can only be found through vengeance, is victory even possible?